Hey everybody, I'm Holly, aka the ScientoloGeek, and I want to welcome you all to the first episode of the remake of the KSW series. It's been a while since I actually did this series. I first started it when I was first doing the channel. Um, yeah, I read and reacted to it and just kind of gave my overall opinion. Um, I feel like I've learned a lot more since then, at least with some of the terminology that I had issues with in the very beginning because I was doing a lot of dictionary lookup. Hi T, you're very quick. Welcome. Uh, Let me actually, before I do anything, let me set the stream information because I completely forgot to do that. This is not Int Ranch research compiling. This is read and react. Series 1. Actually, we're just going to say number 1. Working series. Got the link tree. We're going to add the little description. Pardon me. Alright, public education. We're gonna do. Just popped on to say good day, about to go to bed. Well, thank you for stopping in. That's always appreciated. Have a good rest of your night. Let me go to my content, playlists. We're going to go to. Actually, we gotta go to videos. We're just gonna say working or find KSW, I guess. So I'm gonna delete all the old ones. We're gonna delete all of these. I don't fucking need them anymore. Hello, Kathy. Welcome. Alright, so we're going to go to playlists. I thought I had it. Read and React Data Series, Read and React KSW. Whoops. Sorry, give me 1 minute. Okay. Sorry, give me a minute, guys. I'm just taking care of some stream setup stuff. We're gonna say today on or at Fort Harrison Religious Retreat. Comments are on. I'm going to be honest though, I don't trust that because I've put comments on before on videos and they have not stayed. Subtitles. Why would I do that? Yeah, comments are on. Okay. All right. Hello, Irish Mart. Welcome. We're just going to actually fix this one again. We're just going to call this KSW number 1. And that's what we're going to call it. Read and React KSW. Read ampersand react. Okay. Finally, we can get started. And we will switch to this one. So this is the HCO policy letter of the 7th of February, 1965. This is the most important policy letter in the history of Scientology. It is at the beginning of every single course one does. Every single check sheet one goes through, every single staff training action, like I said, courses. I don't know why I'm trying to continue elaborating. Anywho, this is KSW 1. Very fundamental, very fanatical in its wording. And instead of just reading and reacting on stream, I'm also going to be including my notations and my highlights in this document as I go through. Note, neglect of this policy letter has caused great hardship on staffs, has cost countless millions, and made it necessary in 1970 to engage in an all-out international effort to restore basic Scientology over the world. Within 5 years after the issue of this policy letter, with me off the lines, violation had almost destroyed orgs. Okay, so this came out in 65, so 70, so Hubbard was running the ship starting in 67. They had the FDA raid in, I want to say, 63, and the ban in Australia was something about like the mid to late 60s to the early 70s. I don't know the exact dates. So right now, I think during this point, Australia had Scientology banned, at least in some areas. Or at least one or two areas, I'm not quite sure. Either way, quickie grades, which if anybody doesn't know, right here, this term, quickie grades, is going through the lower grades on the bridge, 0 through 4, before you reach Dianetics, before you reach the state of clear. It's just other things you need to do, like grade 2, I think, is about basically learning how to be comfortable with sec checks. Grade 0 is learning to communicate with anyone on any subject. Grade 1, I think, is problems. Grade 2, OWs. Grade 3. And grade 4, I'm going to be honest, I don't know off the top of my head. But it's just doing the grades in such a way that it's done quicker than it probably should be, or it's not done accurately or precisely enough. Basically, in the case of quickie grades, they should be longer if the person supposedly wants to get true case gain. By doing it quickie, you are ruining their progress up the bridge, supposedly. Quickie grades entered in and denied gain to tens of thousands of cases. Therefore, actions which neglect or violate this policy letter are high crimes, resulting in COMEVs, Committees of Evidence, which is just a Scientology judicial action, on administrators and executives. It is not, quote, entirely a tech matter, unquote, as its neglect destroys orgs and caused a 2-year slump. It is the business of every staff member to enforce it. Special message. The following policy letter means what it says. Why do you need to say this? I mean, I get that you're trying to highlight the importance of this whole thing, but aren't all your policy letters supposed to mean what they say? It was true in 1965 when I wrote it. It was true in 1970 when I had it reissued. I am reissuing it now in 1980 to avoid again slipping back into a period of omitted and quickied fundamental grade chart actions on cases, thereby denying gains and threatening the viability of Scientology and of orgs. Scientology will keep working only as long as you do your part to keep it working by applying this policy letter. Okay, so this is actually 1980. This is not 1970. So 1980, no, 72 he went to Queens with Jim. 80, I think, is the start of his, like, really bad, like, really isolated hiding period. What I say in these pages has always been true. It holds true today. It will still hold true in the year 2000, and it will continue to hold true from there on out. Basically, don't fuck with this document. What I say goes, and anything you do is possibly going to get you expelled from the church. Anything you do against it is what's going to get you expelled. Hold on, just checking the comments quick to see if we have anybody new in chat. No Hubbard lectures today, but basically the thing I'm reading is almost the equivalent. Ban in Victoria, Western Australia, and South Australia in 1965. Oh, okay. So, according to the document as it's written now, in 1980 now, what am I fucking talking about? Australia had already unbanned Scientology by this point. No matter where you are in Scientology, on staff or not, this policy letter has something to do with you. All levels. That's what it's for. It's for everybody. Keeping Scientology Working. HCO sec or communicator hat check on all HCO sec or communicator hat check on all personnel and all new personnel as taken on. Okay, so they need to make sure people know their jobs. We have some time since past the point of achieving uniformly workable technology. The only thing now is getting the technology applied. If you can't get if you pass the point of achieving uniformly workable technology in 1965, all the shit wouldn't have needed to have been rewritten. There would not have needed to have been golden ages. I mean, we already know that David Miscavige has changed Scientology so much since Hubbard died, or even since Hubbard went into hiding, that it's pretty much not the same anymore. The only thing now is getting the technology applied. If you can't get the technology applied, then you can't deliver what's promised. It's as simple as that. If you can get the technology applied, you can deliver what's promised. But when something doesn't work, inevitably, you're going to get blamed for not knowing your shit. Not that the document's wrong. I mean, it totally is. But, no, supposedly the staff is always wrong. Or the public is always wrong for not having KSW in? Hold on. On KSW. In KSW. On KSW. I don't know which one sounds more right. I know there's out KSW, which means keep KSW in, I think. Yeah. The only things you can be upbraided for by students or PCs is no results. Trouble spots occur only where there are no results. Attacks from governments or monopolies occur only where there are no results or bad results, which is the entirety of your church. Bad results. Therefore, the road before Scientology is clear and its ultimate success is assured if the technology is applied. So it is the task of the association or organization secretary, the HCO secretary, the case supervisor, the director of processing, the director of training, and all staff members to get the correct technology applied. Getting the correct technology applied consists of the following 10 points. 1. Having the correct technology. 2. Knowing the technology. 3. Knowing it is correct. Okay, here's my problem. You can have 2 and 3. I feel like 1, I don't know. I have a feeling that this needs to come after 2 and 3. Because you can have the correct technology and not know it, which means you would have to test the technology that you have in order to make sure it's correct. In order to have the correct technology. But in this case, they're just saying having the correct technology is Hubbard's word and Scientology. It's not like an actual scientific fucking process. 3, knowing it is correct. 4, teaching correctly the correct technology. No verbal tech, and only letting Hubbard explain things, basically. 5, applying the technology. 6, seeing that the technology is correctly applied. 7, hammering out of existence incorrect technology. 8, well, if you're waiting... Oh, no, you're waiting until 6 happens to be able to do 7. 8, knocking out incorrect applications. So why didn't you put 8 between 7 and 6? Why not put 8 between 7 and 6? 9, closing the door on any possibility of incorrect technology. This, I feel like this can go, I want to say this can go between 4 and 5. After I'm done looking through this list, I'm going to try to reorganize it to my own specifications. 10, closing the door on incorrect application. Why didn't you do this after 8? So, consists of, we're going to say, new KSW list. We're going to say 2, 3, 1, 4, 5, 6, 8, 7, 6, 8, 10, 7, but 9. 9, I think, needs to go after 1. So let's take a look at what we have so far. We have knowing the technology, knowing it is correct, having the correct technology, closing the door on any possibility of incorrect technology, teaching correctly the correct technology. Okay, maybe this goes between 4 and 5. We're going to take 9, and we're going to stick it between 4 and 5. So knowing the technology, knowing it's correct, having the correct technology, teaching correctly the correct technology, closing the door on any possibility of incorrect technology, applying the tech, seeing that the tech is correctly applied, knocking out incorrect application. What did I do? 8, 10? Closing the door on incorrect application, and then hammering out of existence incorrect tech? No, that doesn't go there. Seven goes after... What's between 4 and 5? 9? So I feel like you already have the correct technology, teaching it correctly. Then we got 9. Okay, so we'll do 7 and then 9. So now the new order goes 2, 3, 1, 4, 7, 9, 5, 6, 8, 10. That is my KSW list. Go fuck yourself. I'm squirreling, and I'm proud of it. No, I'm kidding. 1 above has been done. 2 has been achieved by many. 3 is achieved by the individual applying the correct technology in a proper manner and observing that it works that way. 4 is being done daily successfully in most parts of the world. 5 is consistently accomplished daily. 6 is achieved by instructors and supervisors consistently. 7, hammering out of existence incorrect tech, is done by a few but is a weak point. That should be done by instructors and supervisors unless they're referring specifically to like CCHR and psychiatry. 8, knocking out... Oh wait, sorry, I'm not looking at the list. 8 is not worked on hard enough, so knocking out incorrect application is not done hard enough. 9 is impeded by the reasonable attitude of the not quite bright. So here, we already now understand that reasonable is not a good word. Reasonable is not a good word in Scientology. If say you're on post and you're making excuses about something, you're being reasonable. You're not being unreasonable. You're being reasonable by coming up with say, for example, you are... I'm going to use the example that Chris gave me. You're working on staff, you're trying to get people in, but the street is being closed due to construction, or the sidewalk's closed to construction or something. Some way that people can't get to your org. If you try to why is God that shit, if you try to give an excuse and say, hey, the outside is being worked on, we can't get people in because people can't get past the outside, that's a reasonable attitude. That's not... I keep saying this as if it sounds like a good thing. It's not. If you make an excuse that's not solely based on your own responsibility for getting things done, if you why is God and try to make it outside of your control, you're being reasonable. At least that's one example of the terminology that I have off the top of my head. Let me see what else we got here. Irish. I think I'm finally understanding Hubbard's message. I now know what I need to do to become a millionaire, and the only reason I'm not already one is because you guys are failing to give me all your money. Yeah, basically, Irish. If staff members don't sell enough Scientology, it's an MU. It's not that the books are shit. Yeah, exactly. Everything's your fault if it's not working. Yep. Hello, Claim Clam. I don't think I've ever seen you before. Welcome. He always oversimplifies things but makes it sound complicated. Yep, he absolutely does. Holly, I'm such a... No, I'm not. I'm fucking not. Well, I'm just a critic like everyone else. You know, if they see this, they will find a way to use your new list to start a golden age of knowledge and sell it to everyone and tell them they all have to start over. They'll tell them LRH told them to. I can make it so that Pissy Ron told them to. Hello, Power Lies to Paralyze. Welcome. And let's get back to the stream. 10 is seldom done with enough ferocity. 7, 8, 9, and 10 are the only places Scientology can bog down in any area. I already feel like 7 can be done by instructors and supervisors, but like I said, 7's probably applying to like psychiatry and any kind of other medical shit. The reasons for this are not hard to find. A weak certainty that it works in 3 above can lead to weakness in 7 to 10. Further, they're not too bright, have a bad point on the button's self-importance. Do you want to elaborate? Hubbard, elaborate, because you're just saying shit, and you're not explaining what that means. And it pisses me off, and you do it so often. I gotta compose myself. Coffee. The lower the IQ, the more the individual is shut off from the fruits of observation. Okay, so that's what he's talking about. Wait, no. Yeah, that might actually... This feels kind of like an elaboration on the previous point, but also not at the same time. D, the service facsimiles, which are used to make other people wrong. The surfax of people make them defend themselves against anything they confront, good or bad, and seek to make it wrong. E, the banks, the reactive mind bank, seeks to knock out the good and perpetuate the bad. Bullshit. Fuck you. No. I'm just gonna do this. And just say no. Thus, we as Scientologists and as an organization must be very alert to 7, 8, 9, and 10. In all the years I've been engaged in research, I've kept my communication lines wide open for research data. I once had the idea that a group could evolve truth. A third of a century has thoroughly disabused me of that idea. That's... Hold on, I'm gonna write this first. That's all you gave it? It's 30 years? You needed to give that more time. 30 years is not enough. Willing as I was to accept suggestions and data, only a handful of suggestions, less than 20, had long-run value, and none were major or basic. And when I did accept major or basic suggestions and used them, we went astray, and I repented and eventually had to eat crow. That totally doesn't explain what happened with study tech. From all I know, from what I do know about study tech, it came from some of the concepts, the misunderstood word and the clay, and I think stuff like that. Came from Chuck and Ava Burner. Like, my only source for this is Chris Shelton right now, because I haven't done much study into the history of study tech. So again, I could be wrong. Take everything I say with a grain of salt. But the main point is the fact that he's literally saying everyone's ideas suck. Mine are the best. That's literally... Mine are the... No, not the best. The only rational ones. That's basically what he's saying here is don't think for yourself. Don't try to come up with some other shit that's better with your group. Just go by my basic word. That's it. On the other hand, there have been thousands and thousands of suggestions and writings which, if accepted and acted upon, would have resulted in the complete destruction of all our work as well as the sanity of PCs. Never mind the fact that a bunch of people in Scientology had, like, doctorate degrees and were very highly educated, but they just fell into this bullshit. So I know, well, I mean, I understand why he says his are the best, because, I mean, technically, when you have a subject of bullshit, you can't really refine the bullshit without it still being bullshit. You can't put lipstick on a pig and not still call it a pig. So I know what a group of people will do and how insane they will go in accepting unworkable technology. By actual record, the percentages are about 20 to 100,000 that a group of human beings will dream up bad technology to destroy good technology. His only reference for this is his correspondence. Your only reference is correspondence. You haven't looked at the world as a whole, first off, and seen the good that groups do. It's not my fault that you only have looked at your group and don't think that your group can do any better. Again, way too small of a sample size. As we could have gotten along without suggestions then, we had better steel ourselves to continue to do so now that we have made it. This point will, of course, be attacked as unpopular, egotistical, and undemocratic. You know, 'cause it is. We're just gonna put 'cause it is. And this is where they try to stop people from thinking for themselves. A lot of people might say, oh, this is unpopular, oh, this is egotistical, this is undemocratic. And this is his way of saying, shut the fuck up and stop thinking like that. It very well may be, but it is also a survival point. No, it's a failure point. And I don't see that popular measures, self-abnegation, and democracy have done anything for man but push him further into the mud. Oh, if only you lived to now. Fuck you. I'm just gonna put fuck you. Because he wants fascism. He wants the fascist dictatorial regime of Scientology, where Scientology ethics rule everything, and his word is the only word. Currently, popularity endorses degraded novels. Self-abnegation has filled the Southeast Asian jungles with stone idols and corpses, and democracy has given us inflation and income tax. I feel like this is a little racist, but when is he not? Our technology has not been discovered by a group. True, if the group had not supported me in many ways, I could not have discovered it either. I don't like this sentence immediately. Well, these two sentences. The group supported you by helping you, quote unquote, discover tech. And if you didn't have the group, you wouldn't know what supposedly works and what doesn't based on PC feedback. Because there's a lot of pilot programs that have been done where PCs gave feedback. And, oh my god, this is even more aggravating to me now than it was when I first did this. But it remains that if in its formative stages it was not discovered by a group, then group efforts one can safely assume will not add to it or successfully alter it in the future. Oh my god, inventions in biotech and literally every aspect of humanity. Just because it was started by one person doesn't mean it wasn't improved upon by a group. This type of thinking is so, I want to say single-minded or simple-minded. I'm not quite sure what the correct terminology is for it. But it's getting me very, very pissed off, and I'm trying not to get even angrier. Um, Disregarding inventions throughout human history. That's basically what I'm trying to say there. Switch that to that, just to make it a little different. There remains, of course, group tabulation or coordination of what has been done, which will be valuable, only so long as it does not seek to alter basic principles and successful applications. So if group tabulation is valuable, if group feedback is valuable, as long as it doesn't affect shit that I already have in place, so he's saying group feedback is valuable as long as it doesn't critique the fundamentals I have in place or the way I say to do things. That's my interpretation of that sentence. Change that to just to make it a little more easier to read. What have I missed? He's so circular and redundant. That's the hypnosis. Simplified, it says, use it right, teach it right, and prevent wrong ways from returning. Yeah. It's fucked from the get-go. Yep. KSW's made clear that it intended it to be a cult. Yep. Trying to make sense of a lying con man. Only confusion will come out of it. Trust me, there's plenty of confusion and anger. I'd prefer to put lipstick on a billion pigs and listen to Hubbard's crazy ramblings. At least pigs are adorable. They're just cute. Especially when you get the little baby teacup piglets. Oh my god, they're so tiny and they're so cute. Irish, it's torture. My ex used to listen to that shit when we were together. Oh god, I'm so sorry, Amy. Catch you guys later. Bye, T. Holly's gonna be a cult leader. I'm gonna be the cult leader of the anti-Scientology movement. Or I'm gonna squirrel and create my own version. Did you get to listen to my interview on Antics channel? I have not had the chance yet. But I will absolutely go check that out. Thank you for reminding me. Paralyzed, like, how would we know if we're slowly being brainwashed while it's happening? Holly earned her PhD already in Scientology. You strip out all the hypnotic writing style, it won't work, so you'll need chanting, sleep deprivation, and LSD to get results. No bueno. The contributions that were worthwhile in this period of forming the technology were help in the form of friendship, of defense, of organization, of dissemination, of application, of advices on results, and of finance. I have 2 words for this. Group contributions. That's literally what that is. These were great contributions and were and are appreciated. Many thousands contributed in this way and made us what we are. Discovery contribution was not, however, part of the broad picture. No, because they weren't allowed to. We will not speculate here on why this was so or how I came to rise above the bank. Nope. Shut the fuck up. So I don't have to explain myself. That's the sentence. Shut the fuck up so I don't have to explain. We are dealing only in facts. Facts. We are dealing only in facts. Prove it. Whoops. And the above is a fact. The group left to its own devices would not have evolved Scientology, but with wild dramatizations of the bank called New Ideas would have wiped it out. He's just repeating again. Supporting this is the fact that man has never before evolved workable mental technology, and emphasizing it as the vicious technology he did evolve: psychiatry, psychology, surgery, shock treatment, whips, duress, punishment, etc. ad infinitum. Even if they had to republish this in 1980, and they were referring to all the bad shit that happened in like the 50s, 60s, 70s, early psychiatry stuff, not even early. I mean, it's still fairly recent. Within the past 70 years or so, it was still pretty bad, especially with the ice pick lobotomies and stuff like that. So I understand why he was against the practices back then. But to realize that we've climbed out of the mud by whatever good luck and good sense and refuse to sink back into it again. See that 7, 8, 9, and 10 above are ruthlessly followed, and we will never be stopped. Relax them, get reasonable about it, and we will perish. So far, while keeping myself in complete communication with all suggestions, I have not failed on 7, 8, 9, and 10 in areas I could supervise closely, but it's not good enough for just myself and a few others to work at this. Whenever this control as per 7, 8, 9, and 10 has been relaxed, the whole organizational area has failed. Witness Elizabeth, New Jersey, Wichita, the early organizations and groups. They crashed only because I no longer did 7, 8, 9, and 10. Then when they were all messed up, you saw the obvious quote-unquote reasons for failure. But ahead of that, they ceased to deliver, and that involved them in other reasons. The common denominator of a group is the reactive bank. Thetans without banks have different responses. They only have their banks in common. So if Thetans have different responses... Alright, you know what? If Thetans without banks have different responses, then how come as a parishioner goes up the bridge, Scientologists end up thinking more and more the same way? Whatever. Fuck it. I'll just keep it. They only have their banks in common. They agree then only on bank principles. No. That's all I can say is just no. Person to person, the bank is identical. Again, look, just because you think everyone had attempted... I'm trying to think of say this. Attempted incidents where their parents tried to get rid of them at a pre-born stage. Just because you think everybody has that doesn't mean they do. Just because you say this doesn't make it true. Even though they say that if it's not written, it isn't true. So by this being written, it has to be true according to them. I am going on a rant. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about or where I'm trying to go with this. Let's continue. So constructive ideas are individual and seldom get broad agreement in a human group. How do businesses make decisions with their boards of directors. An individual must rise above an avid craving for agreement from a humanoid group to get anything decent done. The bank agreement has been what has made Earth a hell, and if you were looking for hell and found Earth, it would certainly serve. You have no idea how right that is now. War, famine, agony, and disease have been the lot of man. Right now, the great governments of Earth have developed the means of frying every man, woman, and child on the planet. That is bank. Yeah, but are they doing it? Even if they have the means of doing it, are they doing it? No. That is the result of collective thought agreement. Decent, pleasant things on this planet come from individual actions and ideas that have somehow gotten by the group idea. Just a random suggestion based on something I saw lately. Just one to disprove your shit. Well, I mean, yeah, community gardens, and literally, no, just any way that bureaucracies are run. Governments, townships, everything. For that matter, look how we ourselves are attacked by public opinion. Actually, it's just the same thing. Fuck it. For that matter, look how we ourselves are attacked by public opinion media. This was 1965. I wonder why. Who fucking knows? Might want to do a data series evaluation on that. Yet there is no more ethical group on this planet than ourselves. No. Fuck right off. We're gonna see if I missed any comments. Where am I? Irish, don't try to understand it. You're good. Once you start doing mental gymnastics, the brain will make sense. Trouble listening to it. There's something. Okay. From taking this stuff seriously will either bend or break one's mind. It's definitely breaking, but it's not breaking in a I'm gonna reform it to be a Scientologist kind of way. Elizabeth, New Jersey one is also a dental practice. I drove in front of it. Oh, they changed it to a dental practice? No shit. Hello, Journey. Welcome. Alright. Thus, each one of us can rise above the domination of the bank, and then as a group of freed beings, achieve freedom and reason. It is only the aberrated group, the mob, that is destructive. When you don't do 7, 8, 9, and 10 actively, you're working for the bank-dominated mob. This is... I'm getting an us versus them mentality out of it. For it will surely, A, introduce incorrect technology and swear by it, B, apply technology as incorrectly as possible, C, open the door to any destructive idea, and D, encourage incorrect application. It's the bank that says the group is all and the individual nothing. Okay. Technically, hang on. It's the bank that says the group is all and the individual is nothing. No. Not at all. Why are you saying this? I had a point that I wanted to make there, but I just lost it. If I remember, I will highlight it in and I'll write it. But for right now, I'm going to move on. It's the bank that says we must fail. I can understand that part just from my understanding of Dianetics. And how supposedly but technically the bank doesn't say you must fail. The bank just provides a different way to supposedly deal with something. It provides its own subconscious ideas of how to do something or how to react to something. Okay. He's just chilling. So just don't play that game. Do 7, 8, 9, and 10, and you will knock out of your road all the future thorns. All right, give me a minute. I'm going to go grab the dog's bed so I can have him lay out in here if he wants to. We're going to put this chair over here. Sorry, give me a minute, guys. There we go. Got his bed in the back. Got your bed. You want to go out? Dog's a little shit sometimes. Whatever. So just don't play that game. Do 7, 8, 9, and 10, and you will knock out of your road all the future thorns. Here's an actual example in which a senior executive had to interfere because of a PC spin. A case supervisor, someone who oversees auditing, told instructor A to have auditor B run process X on pre-clear C. Auditor B afterwards told instructor A that it didn't work. Instructor A was weak on 3 and didn't really believe in 7, 8, 9, and 10. So instructor A told the case supervisor process X didn't work on pre-clear C. Now this strikes directly at each of 1 to 6 above in pre-clear C, auditor B, instructor A, and the case supervisor. It opens the door to the introduction of new technology and to failure. Okay, so the instructor taught the auditor to run this process, and the auditor ran the process? I thought the case supervisor just spoke to the auditor directly. Why is there an instructor? Who the fuck are you? I don't know. We're gonna find out. Hope maybe. What happened here? Instructor A didn't jump down Auditor B's throat. That's all that happened. This is what he should have done. Grabbed the auditor's report and looked it over. When a higher executive on the case did so, she found what the case supervisor and the rest missed. That Process X increased Pre-Clear C's tone arm to 25 divisions for the session, but that near session end, Auditor B Q&A'd with the cognition and abandoned Process X while it still gave high tone arm and went off running one of Auditor B's own manufacture, which nearly spun Pre-Clear C. So they're just doing the process wrong. And letting the Pre-Clear's originations lead the session, basically. Again, the Q&A'ing. Auditor B's IQ on examination turned out to be about 75. Why did you let them be an auditor if you didn't give them an IQ test to begin with? Instructor A was found to have huge ideas on how you must never invalidate anyone, even a lunatic. I mean, doesn't it say that in the auditor's code that you must not invalidate anyone? You must not invalidate you must not invalidate pre-clears, not that you can't invalidate staff. The case supervisor was found to be, quote, too busy with admin to have any time for actual cases. Why am I not surprised? Why am I not surprised that the case supervisor is overloaded with too much shit that they can't get their own job done? That's a Scientology thing. That's normal. All right, there's an all too typical example. The instructor should have done 7, 8, 9, and 10. This would have begun this way. Auditor B, that process X didn't work. The instructor says, what exactly did you do wrong? Blaming the victim. Instant attack. Where's your auditor's report for the session? Good. Look here. You were getting a lot of TA when you stopped process X. What did you do? Then the PC wouldn't have come close to a spin, and all 4 of these would have retained their certainty. In a year, I had 4 instances in one small group where the correct process recommended was reported not to have worked, but on review found that each one had A, increased the tone arm, B, had been abandoned, and C, had been falsely reported as unworkable. Also, despite this abuse, in each of these 4 cases, the recommended correct process cracked the case. Yet they were reported as not having worked. Similar examples exist in institution? Similar examples exist in instruction, and these are all the more deadly as every time instruction in correct technology is flubbed, then the resulting error, uncorrected in the auditor, is perpetuated on every PC that auditor audits thereafter. So 7, 8, 9, and 10 are even more important in a course than in supervision of cases. Here's an example. A rave recommendation is given a graduating student because he gets more TA on PCs than any other student on the course. Figures of 435 tone arm divisions a session are reported. Of course, his model session is poor, but it's just a knack he has, is also included in the recommendation. Careful review is undertaken because nobody at levels 0 to 4 is going to get that much TA on PCs. It's found that this student was never taught to read an e-meter TA dial, and no instructor observed his handling of a meter, and that it was not discovered that he overcompensated nervously, swinging the tone arm 2 or 3 divisions beyond where it needed to go to place the needle at set. So everyone was about to throw away standard processes in model session because this one student got such remarkable TA. They only read the reports and listened to the brags and never looked at the student. The PCs in actual fact were making slightly less than average gain, impeded by a rough model session and misworded processes. Thus, what was making the PCs win, actual Scientology, was hidden under a lot of departures and errors. I recall one student who was squirreling on an academy course and running a lot of offbeat whole track on other students after course hours. The academy students were in a state of electrification on all these new experiences and weren't quickly brought under control, so the student himself was given the works, never was given the works, on 7, 8, 9, and 10, so they stuck. Subsequently, the student prevented another squirrel from being straightened out, and his wife died of cancer resulting from physical abuse. Huh? What the fuck are you talking about? Not where cancer comes from. Well, I can't say that, because physical abuse doesn't necessarily mean it came from the husband. It could have come from physical abuse, I guess, could be considered drug use. It could be considered, say, too much radiation exposure. Like if you go tanning too much or just getting out in the sun too much, you could have skin cancer from that kind of physical abuse. But based on the way I read that, is that he beat his wife and his wife died from cancer because of the physical abuse. It makes no fucking sense. I'm not going to try to make it make sense. I got to stop trying to do that. A hard, tough instructor at that moment could have salvaged 2 squirrels and saved the life of a girl. But no, students have a right to do whatever they pleased. I'm just going to say, could you, though, when it's cancer? Squirreling, going off into weird practices, or altering Scientology only comes about from non-comprehension. Usually the non-comprehension is not of Scientology, but some earlier contact with an offbeat humanoid practice in which its turn was not understood. Not of, I don't like that part. We're going to switch that. We're not going to switch it, but you know what I mean. I can understand them saying that non-comprehension came from your lack of understanding in Scientology, but the fact that it came from an earlier similar contact with an offbeat humanoid practice. You mean literally anything except Scientology. Basically, don't blame the church. Or don't try not to associate the church with the non-comprehension. When people can't get results from what they think is standard practice, they can be counted upon to squirrel to some degree. The most trouble in the past 2 years came from orgs where an executive in each could not assimilate straight Scientology. Under instruction in Scientology, they were unable to define terms or demonstrate examples of principles, and the orgs where they were got into plenty of trouble. And worse, it could not be straightened out easily because neither one of these places could or would duplicate instructions. Hence, a debacle resulted in 2 places, directly traced to failures of instruction earlier. So proper instruction is vital. The director of training and his instructors and all Scientology instructors must be merciless in getting 4, 7, 8, 9, and 10 into effective action. That one student, dumb and impossible though he may seem, and of no use to anyone, may yet someday be the cause of untold upset because nobody was interested enough to make sure Scientology got home to him. With what we know now, there is no student we enroll who cannot be properly trained. As an instructor, one should be very alert to slow progress and should turn the sluggards inside out personally. No system will do it. Only you or me with our sleeves rolled up can crack the back of bad studenting, and we can only do it on an individual student, never on a whole class. He's slow equals something is awful wrong. Take fast action to correct it. Don't wait until next week. By then, he's got other messes stuck to him. If you can't graduate them with their good sense appealed to and wisdom shining, graduate them in such a state of shock they'll have nightmares if they contemplate squirreling. That's called... Basically, it's a too gruesome. That's what I'm relating it to, at least. I know a too gruesome is usually a threat of a task that's so bad you don't want to do it. But that's what this gives an idea of. So if they can't graduate through logical sense, graduate them through intimidation. Then experience will gradually bring about 3 in them, and they'll know better than to chase butterflies when they should be auditing. When somebody enrolls... Alright, and this is one of the most... This is the most fundamental part, fanatical part of this policy letter. When somebody enrolls, consider he or she has joined up for the duration of the universe. Never permit an open-minded approach. We're just going to say, here, we're going to be like, totally not a cult. If they're going to quit, let them quit fast. If they're enrolled, they're aboard. And if they're aboard, they're here on the same terms as the rest of us. Win or die in the attempt. Never let them be half-minded about being Scientologists. The finest organizations in history have been tough, dedicated organizations. Not one namby-pamby bunch of panty-waist dilettantes have ever made anything. I think this is the one quote from this, or one of 2 quotes from this document that I have memorized, is the namby-pamby bunch of panty-waist dilettantes. And then one about the tigers. It's a tough universe. The social veneer makes it seem mild, but only the tigers survive, and even they have a hard time. We'll survive because we're tough and dedicated. When we do instruct someone properly, he becomes more and more tiger. When we instruct half-mindedly and are afraid to offend, scared to enforce, we don't make students into good Scientologists, and that lets everybody down. When Mrs. Patty Cake comes to us to be taught, turn that wandering doubt in her eye into a fixed, dedicated glare, and she'll win, and we'll all win. Humor her, and we all die a little. The proper instruction and attitude is, you're here, so you're a Scientologist. Now we're going to make you into an expert auditor no matter what happens. We'd rather have you dead than incapable. This is the biggest quote. Biggest, most important quote from this document. And it follows into the Sea Org too. We'd rather have you dead than incapable. That's why there's basically no senior care. Fit that into the economics of the situation and lack of adequate time, and you see the cross we have to bear. But we won't have to bear it forever. The bigger we get, the more economics and time we will have to do our job. And the only things which can prevent us from getting that big fast are areas in from 1 to 10. Keep those in mind and we'll be able to grow fast And as we grow, our shackles will be less and less. Failing to keep 1 to 10 will make us grow less. So the ogre which might eat us up is not the government or the high priests. It's our possible failure to retain and practice our technology. An instructor or supervisor or executive must challenge with ferocity instances of unworkability. They must uncover what did happen, what was run, and what was done or not done. If you have 1 and 2, you can only acquire 3 for all by making sure of all the rest. So he's saying 3 comes after 10. We're not playing some minor game in Scientology. It isn't cute or something to do for lack of something better. This is another quote that I had memorized. The whole agonized future of this planet, every man, woman, and child on it, and your own destiny for the next endless trillions of years depend on what you do here and now with and in Scientology. This is a deadly serious activity, and if we miss getting out of the trap now, we may never again have another chance. Remember, this is our first chance to do so in all of the endless trillions of years of the past. Don't muff it now because it seems unpleasant or unsocial to do 7, 8, 9, and 10. Do them, and we'll win. You may come in. Oh, I brought it in here in case he wanted to lay down, but he went outside before you came downstairs, and that's when I moved the rug. That's when I moved the bed, so we could just throw the bed back on the chair. He was laying behind me earlier, and I didn't want him to... That's better than a gate. It kind of is. But, all right. Anyway, everybody, that was me covering KSW. I hope y'all appreciated it, and I will talk to y'all later.